Welcome, everyone, to the Apoco-Larry podcast. I'm Steve. He is
Dr. Van Beek.
Yeah, don't you forget it, people. Today, my friend, we're talking about Judges 9, and it's not Gideon, but it's the son of Gideon.
Yes, it is, Stephen.
Abimelech.
It is yes.
which
who I was thinking was David's son, but that was Absalom. You corrected me last week.
That's all good. It's all good. By the way, folks, you missed Larry's rendition of Abimelech as in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. That was quite good. It was very, very well done.
My singing career will one day take off.
Yeah. Oh, it's a matter of time and opportunity. Anything else we should do to preface this, other than this is Gideon's son?
No, this is a fairly long chapter to read, but there's not a whole lot that goes on. Abimelech is the son of Gideon's concubine. And I did take a minute just to look up the difference between concubines and wives. And, some said, well, concubines had no rights, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Concubines' children could have pretty much all the rights or similar rights to his wives' children. Usually they had to claim a relationship with two mothers, both their own mother and the main wife of the person.
Okay.
But he had lots of wives.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe this guy was, because it was a concubine, he was illegitimate or something like that, but that's not the case at all. He was just from the Shechem area, and he was just a jerk.
Well, got that out of the way.
Yeah. Well, you'll see what he's like in just a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Well, without further ado, starting at chapter 9. For those of you playing the at-home edition, don't be afraid to follow along, because you'll not be able to figure it out from my pronunciation of several words. Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal, went to his mother's brothers, in Shechem, and said to them, and all his mother's clan, ask all the citizens of Shechem, which is better for you, to have 70 of Jerubbaal's sons rule over you, or just one man? Remember, I am your flesh and blood.
Okay, so his mother had other children.
Yeah.
And these are the ones he went to and said, look, you should claim me as leader rather than these other guys that aren't from the Shechem area.
Nice.
Right? And remember from the last chapter, it said that Gideon had 70 sons because he had many wives.
Yeah.
So he had these 70, and then he had this other one or these other ones. And so Abimelech jumps in to take over. Very political.
Just a happenstance of opportunity.
Yeah. Pretty much like you read all the way through the books of Kings.
That's right.
Same stuff.
That's right. Verse 3, when the brothers repeated all this to the citizens of Shechem, they were inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, he is related to us. They gave him 70 shekels of silver from the temple of Baal Berith. Wow. And Abimelech used it to hire reckless scoundrels. Wow. Just went, hey,
so
there's
the person writing this was not on his side.
Yeah. Who became his followers. He went to his father's home in Ophrah, and on one stone murdered his 70 brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, escaped into hiding. Then all the citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo gathered beside the great tree at the pillar of Shechem to crown Abimelech king.
Yeah. So basic stuff, right? You remember this from Herod. Herod the Great did the same kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this was just something you did. You wanted to be king, you had to get rid of the other people that could be king. And so he gathers them all up, and how he gathered them, he could have really put a lot more into this story about how it sounds like they just walked over and hung their head over this rock.
Yeah, carry on.
But he killed all 70 of these people, and so set himself up to be the ruler in his dad's place. Yeah.
When Jotham was told about all this, this is verse 7, he climbed up to the top of Mount Gerizim and
Yeah,
shouted to
which is a
them,
mountain in Shechem, by the way.
okay, listen
Yeah.
to me, citizens of Shechem, so that God may listen to you. One day the trees went out to anoint a king for themselves, and they said to the olive tree, "Be our king." But the olive tree said, "Should I give up my oil, which by which both gods and humans are honored, to hold sway over the trees?" Next the tree said to the fig tree, "Come and be our king." But the fig tree said, "Should I give up my fruit, so good and sweet, to hold sway over the trees?" I see a story here. Then he said to the vine, "Come and be our king." But the vine answered, "Should I give up my wine, which cheers both gods and humans, to hold sway over the trees?" Finally, all the trees said to the thorn bush, "Come and be our king." The thorn bush said to the trees, "If you really want to anoint me the king over you, come and take refuge in my shade. But if not, then let fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon."
Yeah, great little story. Is this not the same story later on in this book?
It feels very familiar. That's why he
Yeah,
said it. Yeah.
yeah. But later on they say the thorn bush, which is a useless bush, becomes king.
Yeah.
And he pretty much says the same thing. If you're going to make this guy king, come shelter in my shade. There is no shade in the thorn bush. I think that's part of the story. Like you're just going to get thorns.
Yeah.
It's not, unless you're Peter Rabbit, this is not the place to be.
Yeah.
So that was Jotham. So Jotham is the last son of the king, and he escapes.
Yeah.
And you think this story is going to come around where he's going to become the next ruler, and it's going to be fabulous, because that's sort of the way they set it up. Nothing comes of
Not a
this.
chance.
No, nothing at all.
Verse 16. Have you acted honorably and in good faith by making Abimelech king? Have you been fair to Jerubbaal and his family? Have you treated him as he deserves? Remember that my father fought for you and risked his life to rescue you from the hands of Midian. But today you have revolted against my father's family. You have murdered his 70 sons on a single stone and have made Abimelech, the son of his female slave. Oh, he's throwing it down. He's throwing it down. King over the citizens of Shechem because he's related to you. So have you acted honorably and in good faith toward Jerubbaal and his family today? If you have, may Abimelech be your joy, and may you be his too. But if you have not, let fire come out from Abimelech and consume you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo, and let fire come out from you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo, and consume Abimelech.
Yeah. So basically, he says, if what you're doing is wrong, then just destroy each other.
Yeah.
Is what I'm figuring should happen.
Oh, so beautiful. Verse 21, as Larry said, then Jotham fled, escaping to Beer, which everyone wants to escape to Beer after all. He lived there because he was afraid of his brother Abimelech. But
weird that he stood up and gave that speech. You don't know how long after him running away that happened.
Yeah.
Like, they're not giving you timelines. And after he does the speech, I guess he saw that the people weren't coming with him,
So
and hightailed it out of there. Yeah.
off to Labatt's you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Molson's, which is in Winnipeg.
Yeah. There you go. Verse 22. After Abimelech had governed 3 years, God stirred up animosity between Abimelech and the citizens of Shechem, so that they acted treacherously against Abimelech. God did this in order that the crime against Jerubbaal's 70 sons, the shedding of their blood, might be avenged on their brother Abimelech and on the citizens of Shechem, who had helped him murder his brothers. In opposition to him, these citizens of Shechem sent men on the hilltops to ambush and rob everyone who passed by, and this was reported to Abimelech.
Yeah. So he's keeping no control over these guys at all.
Yeah, because he did find scoundrels, after all. It did say that in the text.
Yes. Yeah. And they have completely fallen into anarchy.
Yes, and they've continued their scoundrel ways. Now Gaal, son of Ebed, moved with his clan into Shechem, and his citizens put their confidence in him. Hey, there's a new guy. Come on.
Yeah. Now, here's where I thought, Gaal was going to be a fabulous person, and this was going to be the new ruler that's going to deliver them. None of this happens. And I go to look him up, and nobody really knows anything about him. I would say, who is Gal? They would say, he is the son of Ebed. And I'd say, who is Ebed? And they'd say, he is the father of Gal. So,
circular reasoning got applied.
yeah. So he was just some other guy from Shechem,
Yeah.
Or from that area, and he moved into Shechem, and decided to take his shot at being the ruler.
I could be a contender. I could be a contender.
Adrian.
Okay. After they had gone
That's
out.
two different movies.
Yeah, I know. We mixed a whole bunch of things together, but that's okay. After they had gone out into the fields and gathered the grapes and trodden them, they held a festival in the temple of their god. Small g there.
Yes, yeah. So they've slipped away from serving God now.
Yes. While they were eating and drinking, they cursed Abimelech. Then Gal, son of Ebed, said, "Who is Abimelech, and why should we Shechemites be subject to him? Isn't he Jerubaal's son, and isn't Zebul his deputy? Serve the family of Hamor, Shechem's father. Why should we serve Abimelech? If only this people were under my command, then I would get rid of him. I would say to Abimelech, call out your whole army."
He's very proud.
Yeah, boy, he's got a plan.
Very proud. Yeah.
Yes, if only I could lead these people. Then when Zebul, the governor of the city, heard what Gal, son of Ebed, said, he was very angry. Under cover, he sent messengers to Abimelech, saying, "Gal, son of Ebed, and his clan have come to Shechem and are stirring up the city against you. Now then, during the night, you and your men should come and lie in wait in the fields. In the morning sunrise, advance against the city. When Gal and his men come out against you, seize the opportunity to attack them."
Yes.
So Abimelech and all his troops set out by night and took up concealed positions near Shechem in 4 companies. Now Gal, son of Ebed, had gone out and was standing at the entrance of the city gate just as Abimelech and his troops came out from their hiding place. When Gal saw them, he said to Zebul, "Look, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains." Zebul replied, "You mistake the shadows of mountains for men." But Gal spoke up again. "Look, people are coming down from the central hill. A company is coming from the direction of the diviner's tree." Zebul said to him, "Where's your big doc now? You who said..." Do not say to me ever that the scriptures have no humor in them. There is tons of humor in them. "Who is Abimelech that we should be subject to him? Aren't these the men you ridiculed? Go out and fight them." So Gal led out the citizens of Shechem and fought Abimelech. Abimelech chased him all the way to the entrance of the gate, and many were killed as they fled. Then Abimelech stayed in Aramah, and Zebul drove Gal and his clan out of Shechem.
Isn't that crazy?
What a great story.
So he mocks this guy Zebul as being, the puppet of Abimelech, and then he has him there when he comes out in the morning.
Yeah.
And he sees these guys coming, and Zebul says, "No, they're not people. You're just seeing things. They're just shadows." And when they get closer, he goes, "Hey, you want to mock him again? You better go out and fight him now." Why he didn't kill Zebul at that point, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He went off and lost the battle handily.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. We will rename him Custer.
Yes, we will.
Yes. Nothing new under the sun.
No, nothing new under the sun. Yeah. Verse 42. The next day the people of Shechem went out into the fields, and this was reported to Abimelech. So he took his men, divided them into 3 companies, and set an ambush in the fields. When he saw the people were coming out of the city, he rose to attack them. Abimelech and the companies with him rushed forward to a position at the entrance of the city gate. Then the two companies attacked those in the field and struck them down. That day, Abimelech pressed his attack against the city until he captured it and killed its people. Then he destroyed the city and scattered salt all over it. Like, that's ticked off. That is ticked off.
It's a confusing story because it's Shechem that supported him.
Yeah.
And now it's Shechem that he's fighting. So and then the putting the salt on the ground is to completely make the ground worthless for growing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, It also suggests he had a lot of salt kicking around.
Yeah, like that's it's not just, we're not talking Spuzzum, BC here, folks. We're talking a big town. Oh, mercy. I love the Old Testament. I really do. Verse 46. On hearing this, the citizens in the Tower of Shechem went into the stronghold of the temple of El Berneth.
Yeah,
Like
that means is it God is good, or I think it's something like that.
okay.
And then Baal is the Lord is good.
Yeah.
El is God is good, and Baal is the Lord is good.
Fair enough.
Or the Lord is something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
When Abimelech heard that they had assembled there, he and all his men went up Mount Zalmon. He took an axe and cut off some branches, which he lifted to his shoulders. He ordered the men with him, "Quick, do as you have seen me do." So all the men cut branches and followed Abimelech. They piled them against the stronghold and set it on fire with the people still inside. Oof.
Yeah, rough stuff.
So all the people in the Tower of Shechem, about 1,000 men and women, also died.
Yeah.
Whew. If that's not enough.
Yeah. No, it's continuing.
Next, Abimelech went to Thebez and besieged it and captured it. Inside the city, however, was a strong tower, to which all the men and women, all the people of the city had fled. They had locked themselves in and climbed up on the tower roof. Abimelech went to the tower and attacked it. But as he approached the entrance to the tower to set it on fire, a woman dropped an upper millstone on his head and cracked his skull.
Isn't it just bizarre? Just bizarre.
They're
stay
all
back a little bit.
They're all morons, and they're all going to die. That's the moral of the story here.
And that's what God has done. I mean, this jerk takes over for Gideon, and he's just wrong all the way, start to finish.
Yeah.
And so there was no deliverance in this chapter at all. Like you're always looking for, then God delivered them.
Yeah.
But this is almost a side note. I should tell you about this guy while I'm at it.
Yeah.
You know?
Did I not tell you the story of Abimelech? Oh, well, hang on a second. Yeah. Oh, but better. So after he's had this millstone dropped on his head and cracked his skull, hurriedly he called to his armor bearer, "Draw your sword and kill me, so they cannot say a woman killed him." So his servant ran him through, and he died. When the Israelites saw
the next verse is fantastic. I love the next verse.
Yeah. When the Israelites saw that Abimelech was dead, they went home.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah. Well, that's that.
Yeah. I guess no one's paying us now. We might as well go home.
Yeah. So, Joe, got far to go? Yeah,
We can go together. It's a good walk.
I got a little place outside Shechem. It's by a lake. It's really beautiful. You should come by. Yeah, come on.
Stop and have supper.
Yeah. I'm sure. Sure. Verse 56. Then God repaid the wickedness that Abimelech had done to his father by murdering his 70 brothers. God also made the people of Shechem pay for all their wickedness. The curse of Jotham, son of Jerubbaal, came on them.
And that's the only piece of Jotham that you get, is that this curse that he had, when he said that this was going to happen, it happened just the way he said it was going to happen. Yeah. And they ended up killing each other.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is, don't get a thorn bush to be your king.
Your king. No. And the other moral is that you'll get later in this book is that you don't need a king.
Yes.
But later on, they do choose a king.
Yes.
And they had a lot of trouble because before they have a king, so they're what do we call it now? Before they had a monarchy, they had a theocracy.
Yeah.
And it was, so God is their king, but this was the result of people are people.
Yeah.
And
what a story! What an unbelievable story!
Yeah. It'd be nice to know the exact period that this happened.
Yeah.
I think my little chart, I could maybe next week just say this. They figured this happened over. It doesn't sound like it was terrible many years that it was. that this thing happened.
Mm, mm.
But
It's just so
it,
glorious.
yeah, and somebody could say, and God let him kill all those 70 sons. Well, yeah,
Yes.
yep,
Yes, he
yep.
did.
And Gideon served God, and his only downfall, remember, was he took a little bit of credit, remember, with the
Yeah.
ephod and stuff like that, and so he was just a little bit off. And then, of course, he had children with this woman, and those children turned out to be not very.
Yeah.
Who knows what would have happened though if Abimelech hadn't taken over? There
Right.
might have been a big political struggle between those other 70.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But how he was able to gather them together and kill them, I just don't know.
Yeah. And when you think, I mean, I think you made this point last week, of Gideon's worship of the ephod. It only took one generation, and they were all the way back to Baal worship.
Yeah, yeah. It's just bizarre, isn't it? Just in case we don't get Stephen back, I'm Larry. He was Steve, and this was the Apoco-Larry podcast.